right. Good evening, everyone. As we gather here in the Benjamin Franklin Room, named for America's first diplomat, surrounded by art created by our Afghan friends, I'd like to start by reflecting on the wisdom of Franklin himself. He wrote this prayer, that I may have tenderness for the weak and a reverent respect for the ancient, that I may be kind to my neighbors, good-natured to my companions, and hospitable to strangers. Franklin picked his words carefully. That I may. He recognized that these virtues were not a given. They're a choice. The work that we've done together over the last 3+ years to support our Afghan allies is an embodiment of the virtues that Franklin extolled. To honor the hospitality and kindness that America strives to embody, to welcome those who come to our shores seeking safety and opportunity, to help those who have helped us. Franklin recognized that these things don't just happen. We must choose to make them happen. Then we must strive toward them, hourly, daily, continually. So tonight, we're here to celebrate the successes that we've shared together, to acknowledge the reality of the challenges that we still face, and to urge our nation to continue to choose to support our Afghan allies, to keep our promises, to be kind to our neighbors and hospitable to strangers. In short, to choose to do the right thing. Before I go any further, I want to give a special acknowledgement to Rashani Mansour for her incredible work in organizing this event. Rashani, where are you at? She's right back there. Rashani, your attention to detail, your creative vision, Terrence putting all the frames together for this art, you brought this evening to life. And now that I've thanked you, it's time for me to apologize. She gave me a time limit. And I think you guys know I'm not that good at protocol. So buckle up, everybody. I'll apologize to you too, also Rich. Thank you, Deputy Secretary Verma, for your kind words and for hosting us in this iconic space. Truly, folks, look around, walk around. They probably won't stop you. Go in all the rooms. A thank you to Secretary Blinken. I know he's on his flight. He delayed his flight to Europe to go do the relentless diplomacy that he's famous for, to come here and talk to us. He's had an extraordinary and steadfast commitment that has been so indispensable to this effort. It's set a standard that we should all strive to meet, an example that we should continue to follow. Thank you to Dr. Liz Sherwood-Randall, who, along with Curtis Reed and John Feiner, have all, at various times, been my break glass in case of emergency, whenever urgent action was required, but not happening. And I wish I could thank every other non-government and government person in this room. Our relationships have been forged in fire, but the truth is that the commitment of this whole administration to our Afghan allies has been marked by remarkable creativity. We try, we fail, we try something new. The willingness to consistently collaborate, to innovate, and to take constructive feedback is precisely why this effort has been so successful and effective. I also want to express my deep gratitude to our international partners who are in attendance from Qatar, Albania, Kosovo, Pakistan, the Philippines, and more. Without your support, this work just wouldn't continue. Please, let's give a round of applause for our international partners. I also want to thank and speak directly to the journalists in the room. The stories you report shape how people understand this work. They may not always seem sexy or dramatic, but they matter. This partnership matters. Your words can honor our combined efforts and inspire others to believe in what's possible when government and civil society work together hand in hand. This issue remains in the news, however sporadically, because of so many of you and your colleagues who worked alongside our mission in Afghanistan, keeping government honest and sharing the stories of those impacted. So look around, meet a source, make a friend, even if it's an off-the-record friend, but please continue to tell this story. Make sure history and the American public know what we all in this room have done together. For the last 3 years, we, all of us here, and those out there who couldn't make it, have worked together in various ways to support Afghans desperately seeking a chance at a better future. We've helped friends and strangers alike to navigate overly complicated government systems, to overcome seemingly insurmountable barriers, and, in the best cases, to reach safety and the opportunity to build a new life here in the United States. This incredible partnership of veterans, volunteers, nonprofit leaders, congressional caseworkers, and government officials from all across the American experience is an unprecedented story of collaboration and civic engagement, of lives changed and futures changed, one worthy of being told and retold. For AfghanEvac, it started with several people who I'm happy to see in this room today. I think back to that very first meeting on August 16, 2021. Chris Purdy and Camille Mackler and Steve Miska from Evacuate Our Allies, Lauren Voss from No One Left Behind, Joe Sabo from Team America, and so many more convened to make sure that we were deconflicting our efforts, broadening communications, and finding ways to stretch the collective resources that we had. I think about that first meeting with government, September 13th, 2021. Our partners at Task Force Pineapple had just met with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. I flew in for a quick follow-up, having gained entry thanks to March Bishop and Heather Callahan and Pat Callahan. You guys still glad you put me in that room? Scott Mann, Chuck Rush, Mike Jason, Joyce Schanenberger, Alex Plitzis, and so many more were in that meeting that first day. Also in that room, on the other side of the table, were Becky Zimmerman, J.P. Feldmeyer, and now Ambassador Timmy Davis. All people who I realized shared the same sentiment that those on our side of the table shared, that the work had just begun and that we needed to collaborate if we hoped to find success and help our allies. It was in that room that the AfghanEvac partnership with the State Department was born. What we've built isn't glamorous or shiny. It's gritty, it's stitched together, sometimes it's messy. It's the result of long hours, tough decisions, and a willingness to keep pushing, even against seemingly immovable obstacles. But despite all of that, it's beautiful, because this is what keeping your promise looks like. Together, we built an unprecedented partnership between government and civil society that is helping people who risked everything to stand beside us. We have built something that should serve as an example for the future when crises arise. We know they're coming. We know they're going to arise. The Afghan poet Rumi wrote, "Know that from ruin you can find treasure." When Kabul fell, we were faced with ruin, chaos, heartbreak, unimaginable loss. Lives were lost, dreams were dashed, and hope seemed distant. But in that ruinous moment, there were glimmers of hope. All of you. We saw thousands of people from across the globe volunteer their time, talent, and treasure to make a difference, to keep the promise that Americans made. Since then, we've assisted families in need by providing direct aid in the form of food, shelter, medical care. We've helped people fill out and refill out complicated paperwork and understand complex government systems. We've uncovered gaps and overlaps in bureaucratic processes and pushed to fix them. We have demanded better communications and greater clarity for those facing uncertainty and fear. We have refused to take no for an answer or to give up on successfully delivering on the promise of America. This effort, funded at about $2 billion a year, is a fraction of the $2.23 trillion spent on the Afghan war. Its impact should be measured not just in dollars spent, but in lives saved. Our work ensures that even though the war has ended, we continue to honor our commitments, not just as a policy choice, but as a moral imperative. Because of our combined efforts, over 180,000 Afghans have arrived in this country since August of 2021 and been given a chance to pursue their own American dream. Together, the push and pull of government and civil society, of people in power and people with passion, has moved mountains. The ruin cannot be undone, but the treasure lies in those lives rebuilt, those families reunited, and those futures renewed. I wish I could name and thank every single person who contributed to AfghanEvac's success and the success of our entire larger movement. But the sheer size of this community, in and out of government, makes it impossible to acknowledge everyone who deserves recognition. Thousands of individuals have dedicated countless hours to this work, most often without any compensation or recognition. To get this work done, many, including many in this room, have gone into debt, they've lost time with their families, some have lost their families, and sacrificed their own mental and physical well-being. But let me say this, each of you in this room and those of you who are watching on the live stream and couldn't join us, each of you changed someone's life for the better. You belong here. You are deserving of this recognition that this event symbolizes, and so much more. I do want to acknowledge 2 Afghans whose presence here is especially meaningful to me personally. My friend and brother, Abdul Manan, many of you probably know him as Lucky, texted me from a mountain in Urgun on August 14, 2021, asking for help. So many of you got similar texts. He was the inspiration for the organization AfghanEvac and the person responsible for my involvement in this effort. I also want to recognize the incredibly brave Florence Puya, a brilliant young leader who embodies the resilience and promise of Afghan women, and who's forging a path as an MIT aerospace engineering student and our AfghanEvac youth ambassador. You'll hear from her a little bit later. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge several key individuals from government who made this partnership so successful. Ambassador John Bass, Ambassador Timmy Davis, Ambassador Beth Jones, Karen Decker, J.P. Feldmeyer, Scott Weinhold, Rena Bitter, Susie George, Allison Wong, and so many more who have helped stand this effort up and keep it moving. The incredible work that the current CARE team is doing under the leadership of Mayor Tekach, Darian Akins, Pamela Bates, Dan Forbes, and so many others. Back in the fall of 2021, we set a goal which became Enduring Welcome. And at the time, it seemed lofty and out of reach. But these folks at CARE brought it into reality. And as a result, thousands of Afghans are joining our communities every single month. I also want to lift up 2 members of the AfghanEvac team who transitioned into government roles early on and have made an outsized impact. March Bishop and Jessica Bradley Rushing took the U.S. government by storm when they joined CARE, bringing the knowledge, tenacity, and heart to this work that defines so many of the volunteers and workers who have made such a difference these last few years. Together, you've both transformed bureaucracy into a tool for good, something so rare and extraordinary. I also want to thank Congressman Scott Peters, who's here today. He has been with AfghanEvac since before it was AfghanEvac. Like, he's literally the first person I texted when Lucky called. He also officiated my wedding. He's a good dude. Congressman Zach Nunn, who has been a member of our coalition since the early days as a founder of Task Force Argo, has been a strong advocate. He will be at our happy hour later. Come to tonic, everybody. Both members have been strong partners to Afghans and incredible allies. And finally, Senator Chris Coons was here earlier. He has been such a strong partner to Afghans, AfghanEvac, and to the State Department team executing this work. It's thanks to these people and many more, our teams have done things that many believe to be impossible. Despite all of that, the reality is that challenges remain. And because I am who I am, I'm going to speak a little bit of truth to power since they gave me a microphone, and remind us of the problems that still need to be fixed. It still takes years, far too long, for our allies, for our Afghan allies, to get through the various hurdles that we've created before they can reach safety. Communications, both within our systems and with the people we aim to serve, remain inconsistent and often inadequate. Family reunification remains elusive to so many. And fundamentally, our immigration system still doesn't meet the urgency of the needs of today. These challenges temper our celebration tonight. We must continue to push forward, demand better, and do more for those who have earned their chance to start fresh in America. And as we gather here tonight, the uncertainty of a new administration looms large. Priorities may shift, approaches may change. A new administration brings fresh ideas, but it also brings the unknown. This work, the lives touched and the futures changed, must transcend politics, which is why our efforts, our advocacy, and our unity are more vital now than ever. The road ahead may not be easy, but guess what? The road behind was pretty bumpy too, right? If the past few years have taught us anything, it's that we've created a resilient team. We built this community to tackle hard challenges and create solutions, to kick in closed doors and build bridges, to find solutions and keep pushing, to ensure that the work of concluding a war is conducted with the same resolve and enthusiasm as the work of waging one. The good news is that many of us know the incoming administration includes individuals deeply committed to this cause. Most notably, Mike Waltz, the incoming National Security Advisor, is a friend to so many in this room and has shown profound dedication to supporting Afghan allies. his office is going to be right down the hallway from the president. I challenge all of us, and especially those stepping into new leadership roles, choose to continue this work. There are tens of thousands more Afghan allies who still need our help. So let's engage, advocate, and collaborate to ensure that the progress we've made is not only preserved, but expanded together. Remember, oh no, we're not done. We're close though. I know, I should have told you all to grab a seat. But remember, good things don't just happen, right? We have to choose to make them happen, like Ben said. Our collective efforts, rooted in grit and determination, have reshaped what's possible. We've demonstrated what it means to honor our commitments, to persist in the face of obstacles, and to act with integrity and humanity. The work isn't finished, but I know we'll face what comes next with the same strength and resolve, innovation and partnership that brought us together here tonight. Thank you.